Go. Hey there, welcome to Trivia Ronin. My name is Matt McNelly, and whether you're joining us live on Zoom or Twitch or after the fact on YouTube, welcome. We're happy to have you. Quick breakdown of the rules. 1, we're honor code here at Trivia Ronin. You keep your own score. Feel free to cheat. You get nothing if you don't want to keep your score. Let me show you a little something here. It's called Trivia Rat. Slightly blocked by the... Oh, transition. Trivia Rat. Slightly blocked by the head of my bass guitar. We'll talk about that. You can scan that, then I keep your score. Either way, you get nothing. And number 2, after each question, you get 45 seconds to answer them. Do not show your answer until the time is up. Everybody here knows that. Don't be that person to show it early. And number 3, if you're joining us on Twitch, wait until there's about 5 seconds left on that timer you see. That should line up with us live. You can play with us in the chat as well if you're so inclined. Do what you want to do. We're just here to ask questions, have a good time. Tonight, there's 20 questions. Then there's 10 questions where we're going to play Name That Tune with my trusty bass here that I just pulled out. I'm going to play you some bass lines. You have to name the band and the song. It's going to get you 2 points apiece. If I remember how to play them, we'll see how many shots I take. And then there's a 10-point story question dedicated to our boy Douglas Larlam. Anyway, without further ado, let's play Trivia Ronin. You know how it goes. Question numero uno. Imelda Staunton is next to play what role? Originated by Claire Foy and continued by Olivia Colman. Note, please name the role and not the show. But it is a show. Spoilers. I will start the rat immediatamente. Where are you, rat? There it is. Game on. Anyone playing with us? On Trivia Rat, you are able to answer now. Note, name the role, not the show. Imelda Staunton. Talented actress. Claire Foy's good too. And Olivia Colman. Not a bad one in the bunch on this one. Some talented individuals. What role? I'd like the name, if you know it. Don't have to know the last name. 2-1, show him. I'd like that if you don't know. Show him, everybody! Oui, Chef. Emily, you're in a sauna tonight, but I'm going to trust what you say. Cookie Monster is my favorite guess and gets you a half point because I like funny things. Queen Latifah also gets you a half point, Seth Ron, but Queen Elizabeth is what I was looking for. Queen Elizabeth. Queen Latifah have been playing herself for years, and she's doing a great job. Queen Elizabeth II. Theodore Roosevelt was the first sitting president to leave the United States on official business, in his case, to review a major construction project. Where did he go? He was checking up on some things. Where'd TR go? First one to leave America. Twitch, how's the music for you? You can just throw a thumbs up in the chat. I'm going to stop the music for our musical round. Teddy Roosevelt was the first sitting president to leave the United States on official business. In his case, it was to review a major construction project. Where'd he go? Pud, that's a great Michael Keaton. Are we looking at Spotlight? Which Michael Keaton is this one? Oh, we're looking at, no, it's not Chicago 7, is it? Could be any of them, really. Or is it him actually on trial? I hope it's him actually on trial. 2-1. You guys know. Fuck. Oh, Cuba's a good guess. China's a good guess. But several people got it. The correct guess. The Panama Canal, or just Panama. He went to Panama. We owned it at the time. We might still own it. I don't know. Don't put it past America. We own a lot of things. Question 3, what element was first detected in 1868 as an unexpected line in the sun's spectrum 27 years before we discovered it on Earth? 45 seconds. What element? I'll do a little science lesson in a few because tonight is Girls Who Code night. Let me explain what I'm referring to. You can diffuse light through a prism and then calculate certain elements on a spectrum when you look at the sun's light. Did I use the right words? Absolutely not, because I don't know what I'm talking about. But there is a way to do it, and people can pick up certain elements. And somebody said, that's not supposed to be there. There isn't an element there. 1868. 1868 was when we discovered this element. Just warming up the pipes. 2-1. Show them, guys. What are we talking about here? Ooh, good guess. Uranium, carbon, all good guesses, but since it is the sun, neon's a good guess. Helium. Now's when I would, inhale some and do something funny. But it was found in uranium, but I'm still not going to give any points. Question 4, 2 points. 2-pointer. Hyundai has 5 different SUVs in their lineup. 2 are named for cities in the Southwest. What are those 2? 45 seconds. There's 2 Hyundais named after cities in the Southwest United States. Thinking neon, Clancy. You know why? Because our colors are neon. I get it. That would have been smart on my part. Maybe I'll tell a story about how neon got discovered sometime, if it's interesting. 2-pointer. Hyundai has 5 different SUVs in their lineup. 2 are named for cities in the Southwest. What are those 2? Yes, 1 point each, Emily. Thank you. 1 point each. I thought you were going to say, do I get a point if I own one? We'll find out. We'll find out who owns any of these. 2-1, show them. Good cars from what I hear. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing a smattering of both. It's some got one, some got the other. Santa Fe and Tucson. There's a Hyundai Tucson and a Hyundai Santa Fe. Give yourself a point. Point for... Do you? I'll give you a half point, Chris. Half point for being a Hyundai owner. Question 5. This one's hard. Sorry, guys. I just find it interesting. I just want to put classical music in here. Joseph Haydn's Symphony, or Haydn's Symphony in G major, contains a sudden forte drum beat in the second movement, which earned it what nickname? 45 seconds. Fancy classical music people call this symphony the blank symphony because of a sudden forte drum beat in the second movement. You guys know it. It goes like this. Boof. Let me do that for you one more time. Bam. Forte. Bam. No idea is true. This is a tough one. This one, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. This is very much a guess. Like, you might guess it, and you may just get it. It may... 2-1, show them. It may surprise you when it happens. Yep, okay. Anybody guess what I want it to? Forte Night is my favorite. Seth Brown, that's another half point. Surprise Symphony. It's a surprise. Comes as a surprise. They call it the Surprise Symphony. Don't worry, that's, I think, my last classical music question for the night. But surprise, I was hoping someone might guess it. Maulid an-Nabi, or Muhammad's birthday, is celebrated in the 3rd month of the Islamic calendar. Within a month, when will it occur in 2021? This one, I'm just throwing out some guess questions, guys. Just in case anyone, but if anyone's got their Islamic calendar nearby, handy, feel free to check it. See? George Clancy, trust your brain. This is your brain on drugs, and it's guessing correctly. That's what they didn't tell you growing up, man. When they put that egg in the frying pan, sometimes the egg comes out like a beautiful souffle. That's your brain on drugs, too. Maulid an-Nabi. I hope I am saying that even close to right, but it's Muhammad's birthday. And I'm talking month in Gregorian calendar. It obviously shifts around often. So this one's just a stab in the dark for most. Let's see if anybody got it. Okay, a couple people got it. Oh, few people got it. Okay. The answer is October 18th. So if you wrote September through November, there you go. Anywhere in there. That's why we do stabs in the dark sometimes. Oh, I love this question. Question number 7. In the 1970s, this band had 5 albums reach number 1. 22 of its singles hit the top 40. Yet it was only the bandleader's second most successful musical effort. What band am I talking about? In the 70s, this band had 5 albums reach number 1 and a 6th reach number 2, by the way. Just didn't have space. And 22 of its singles on the U.S. charts hit the top 40. Yet, it was only the bandleader's second most successful musical effort in his career. It's a he. Everybody coming to my Maulid an-Nabi party in October? We can do this now. Vaccination. In the 1970s, this band had 5 albums reach number 1, 22 singles hit the top 40, and it was the second most successful band the band leader was ever a part of. 2-1. I'm sure some people gonna guess at it. Yep. Band on the run. It's Wings, everybody. Band on the run. Nobody gets bonus points because I sang it. But yes, Wings, which would be Paul McCartney's band, they were really good. You know who's better? The Beatles. Question 8. An icosahedron, says the man who can't pronounce. Oh, Doug would have loved to see me not pronounce that right. An integral part of any Dungeons and Dragons experience has how many sides? 45 seconds on the clock. How many sides on an icosahedron? But it's an integral part of any D&D experience. And to my Dungeons and Dragons players, you're all going, well, there's like 7, 8 different ones. So, yeah, you got to guess. But it's famously involved in a Dungeons and Dragons game. I hope. We'll find out. Ooh, Queen's a good guess. If you like Freddie Mercury's solo career better. 2-1. Show 'em. 16's a good guess. Yeah. I think there is a 16-sided one, but there is famously a 20-sided die when you play Dungeons and Dragons. 20 sides to the dice. I know, Emily. Don't beat yourself up. I think there's a 16 in there, too. It's just the icosahedron has 20. In November 1991, an instructional introductory book to MS-DOS was published, beginning a long series of books marketed to who? The first one, November 1991. Many, many more made after that. An instructional text. 2020. My people on Twitch, they know their D&D dice. In November 1991, an instructional introductory book. That's very annoying. I feel like that's a redundancy. But anyway, an introductory book to MS-DOS was published, beginning a long series of books marketed to who? They're books for somebody. Here's a chance for comedy. Do we swing at the fastball or do we take the answer? 2-1, show them. Who are these books marketed to? Yeah. Everybody remembers these. Nerds. Sometimes, but many others. They are nerds sometimes, but they are dummies. MS-DOS for dummies. Everybody's got a copy sitting on their shelf somewhere, right? Question 10. Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador has been the populist president of Mexico since 2018. By what nickname is he commonly known? Populist semi-scumbag Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. If you don't know about Mexican politics, here's another guesser. Not as bad as what's his face, Bolsonaro. You know, but that's some tallest little person in the circus territory here. AMLO was his name-o. 2-1, show him. You guys know. Oh, nobody got it. That's a bummer. I just said it, so I hope anybody heard me. Mexican Trump is an excellent guess. AMLO. Everybody calls him AMLO. It's just his initials. I was hoping someone had heard that somewhere. Yep, AMLO. AMLO was his name-o. It's okay. Don't worry. A bunch of those were hard. We're doing great, guys. That's one round down. Take your time. Tally your scores. I'm going to tally up Trivia Rat. And we will be back in 3 minutes. Here's your promo for Doug again. See you soon. Round 2 tonight, since Doug is sometimes peeking in. I know I can't make the final game either, Drama Turtle. I got to work because, sadly, restaurants are open. I mean, not sadly. I guess we all have to work at some point. So here's the tea. Welcome back, Emily. Round 2. Homage to Douglas Larlam. We're doing a round about endurance is the plan. So all these questions are going to be in some way endurance related because he's staring down 24 hours. So I figured I would... oh, wait. Let's start a new round. New round. Boom. So everything's going to be somewhat endurance related. Starting with question number 11. I hope we are ready to rock. Game on, Larry. Larry's at... Oh, sorry. What are scores? Larry's at 9. Anybody sitting up there? Emily's at big 4. I like it. Jasper's at 7. Pud's at 7. 4. Nice. Cyrus going to hide his score. Keep it close to the vest. I'm messing with you. Oh, right. Also that. So Cyrus making a big comeback round 2 starting now. Question 11. The Barkley Marathons is a 100-mile cross-country trail race held annually since 2001 in a forest in Tennessee. Within 5, how many people have ever finished this ridiculous race? 45 seconds. Anyone see the documentary and know what I'm talking about? Shit, no one? All right, then this question's a little more awkward. There's a great documentary on Netflix about this thing. Let me get you to a better screen so we can actually read it. So it's called the Barkley Marathons. It's a 100-mile cross-country trail race. It's over 3 days, held annually since 2001. You have 60 hours to finish it. It's in the backwoods of Tennessee. The race starts by the host. So the host, the way the race starts is the guy who, the way you enter, it costs $1.60 to enter. You have to bring a license plate from your home state. And then the guy, to start the race, blows a conch an hour before and then lights a cigarette. That's when you start your race. Anyway, it's really hard, and many people haven't finished. That's your hint. So within 5, how many people have ever finished this race? Show them. 20, 10, 20, good guess. 100, good guess. I wish it was 100. It's way less. Sarah, you're closer, but it's 15 people lifetime. So if you wrote 10 to 20, you got it. 15 people ever have finished the Barkley Marathons. It sounds terrible. I'm from Tennessee, dude. Don't tell. I will not tell Gator. Although Gator sounds like Florida, but you know, that's just me being West Coast biased. Question 12. Without breathing in pure oxygen, the world record for holding one's breath sits at 11 minutes, 54 seconds. But within 3 minutes, what is the pure oxygen record? Again, just a good old guesser. Tonight's all about guessing. What is the world record for an individual who has inhaled pure oxygen beforehand? They usually do about 20 minutes of pure oxygen before they do the thing. That's not a hint. Gator does sound cool, honestly. I ain't mad at you. I'm mad at me. Trivia Gator sounds way more fun than Trivia Ronin. Someone tell Doug. Without breathing in pure oxygen beforehand, the world record for holding one's breath sits at 11 minutes and 54 seconds. Within 3 minutes, what is the record with breathing in pure oxygen? I believe it was set in Dubai in 2018. If someone knows better than me, let me know. Show them. 23, 21, 30. Twice that is, I think, actually correct. 24 minutes, 11 seconds is the current world record for holding your breath. So if you had 21 to 27, anyone there, and I'll accept 21 on the dot, and I'll accept 27 on... I'll accept 27 and 11 seconds if anyone wrote that. But that's the world record, and it's insane. I watched it today. It's really boring, but somebody did it. Question 13, endurance. Sisyphus, former king of Corinth, cheated death twice, but when he finally got to Hades for good, Zeus forced him to do what for all eternity? What's Sisyphus have to do? Or I should say, what's Sisyphus doing right now? Sisyphus. Sisyphus. Doug with the funniest answer so far. Hold his breath. Yes. Perhaps you might say they are waiting to exhale. That was my next question. Just kidding, it wasn't. Sisyphus, former king of Corinth, cheated death twice, famously, around Zeus. So Zeus got mad and he made him do what? 3, 2, 1. What's Sisyphus up to? Hi, Doug. You should be sleeping. Thank you, Darcy. Yes, push rock uphill is the best way it's written. But push a rock up a hill, roll a boulder up a hill, anything involving a rock and a hill. I'll give you the points. So that is what Sisyphus is up to. If you think Doug's having a hard time tomorrow, I mean, think of pray for Sisyphus. Hashtag pray for Sisyphus. Question 14, the golden ratio, pi, Euler's number, which is lowercase e, and the imaginary unit, I, are referred to in mathematics collectively as what? What are those things called? 45 seconds. What do you call those things when you're a mather? I think they're called mathers, right? People that work in math, mathers, Marshall Mathers. Nailed it. Oh, we just lost 7 Twitch followers. Question 14, the golden ratio, pi, Euler's number, and the imaginary unit are referred to in mathematics as what? Among others. I should say there are others, but those are the ones I've actually heard of. What do we call those things? I might call mine Desmond Hume. Show him. Yep. Irrational number is true of I, but not of all of them. The answer was constants. They're all mathematical constants. Constants. Or, as Doug, I would more say that question was more of an arithmetic question rather than arithmetics, but that's a good joke. Question 15. As long as she knows how to love, you know she'll be alive, and she still is. Who initially performed the disco hit I Will Survive? Who's the artist? Who's the original artist? I was going to say who wrote, but she didn't. You know who did? 2 guys. 2 guys with houses in Malibu. They seem nice. I don't know. I didn't look into them. As long as she knows how to love, you know she'll be alive. And she still is. This, by the way, real awkward if she dies tonight. Real awkward. Just going to say it. Don't worry, my desk is wood. She's not. She will survive, of course. 2-1, show 'em. If you're a fan of the play that I'm wearing on my head, fuck you, it's cake. Yep. Someone at the end of Shrek is an excellent guess. The truth is Gloria Gaynor. Gloria Gaynor was her name. Still is her name because she is still surviving. Speaking of things that endure, question 16. This Delaware-based company, one of the oldest still in operation in America, started as a gunpowder factory in 1802, but has since diversified into all sorts of chemicals. 45 seconds. Chemicals. Plastics. That's from The Graduate. That's the line I know from The Graduate. This Delaware-based company, many companies based in Delaware, but this one actually, one of the oldest continuously operating companies in America. Started in 1802. A good time to get into the gunpowder business. 10 years later, we needed it. Didn't help. But has since diversified into chemicals of all varieties. What are we talking about? What company is this? Deloitte's a great guess. Deloitte's a really good guess. Crazy Kaplan's Fireworks is my favorite guess. Johnson & Johnson, Merck, good guess, but I'm seeing a few people got it. DuPont. DuPont Chemicals. Those guys. And then, I guess, paint and other things, but I think those are chemicals. But DuPont, big chemical people. Question 17, if you get a bit too emotional in front of an English person, they'll probably tell you to keep a stiff upper what? 45 seconds. And I hope everyone can hear the tremendous British accents coming from my living room. Stiff upper what? It was, I mean, there were 2 answers to that last question if you were guessing, and it was Dow or DuPont. Question 17, if you get a bit too emotional in front of an English person, they'll, well, first of all, they'll probably just walk away. But if they actually, you know you, tell you to keep a stiff upper what? Cheerio, tally-ho, and all that. Pish-posh. Rubbish, lorry, lift, queue, brawly, perambulator. There you go. There's all your English words. It's none of those. Yes, everybody knows a good old English person. And in jolly old England, they'll say, stiff upper lip, love. Go on, son, stiff upper lip. Stiff upper class is the best. Funny answer. Good work, Doug. Question 18. In the play Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, the title characters begin by doing what activity 92 times in a row to the same outcome? 45 seconds. Don't need a theater major to get this, but this is my theater major question of the evening. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, characters in the play Hamlet, written by William Shakespeare, debatably, or the Earl of Oxford. I don't know. There's other, nonsensical things, but William Shakespeare. In the play Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, the title characters begin the play by doing what activity 92 times in a row to the same outcome? "92 times they do this." 2-1, show them. Yep. Many people got it. Yes, it is flipping a coin, and for a half point, anyone can say what side it lands on. Hey, Pud said it. Good guess. Or you knew it. Half point to Pud. Flip a coin. It was heads. 92 times heads. Doug already said it in the Twitch chat, but he's a big fan of Tom Stoppard. Question 19. In 2010, 33 people were trapped underground when a Chilean copper mine collapsed. Within 5 days, how long were they underground? How long were those poor miners underground? You remember. This girl gets a quarter point for saying heads the second time and not being Doug. In the year 2010, 33 people were trapped underground when a Chilean copper mine collapsed. Within 5 days, how long were they there? Rode underground twice just because, felt like it, I guess. Doug, don't beat yourself up, kid. It's early. You're great. We're raising money for charity. 33 people trapped underground when a Chilean copper mine collapsed. Within 5 days, how long were they there? What do we think, guys? Yes. I was hoping some people either knew or guessed this because, it's 69. Nice. Give yourself a half point if you got it on the dot and we're just guessing. If you knew it, don't give yourself a half point. Only if you were being funny. Question 20. And last of this round, the original compact discs were given 74 minutes of audio storage capacity to accommodate a full performance of which composer's Ninth Symphony? Oh shit, I did have another classical music question. What a monster. This one's easier, I promise. Ooh. This girl taking jabs at Chile on the Twitch chat. The original CD. I should say when it was in beta, it was 60 minutes on the dot. And then somebody in testing was like, you know what? We should make it 74 because that's how long it takes to perform this composer's Ninth Symphony. Makes you think, huh? Could they have been 80 minutes? Could they have been 100 minutes? Holding out on us, compact discs. 2-1. If you don't remember CDs, just get off. Yep. Yeah. You're going to guess Mozart or Beethoven. And so if you guessed Beethoven, you guessed correctly. Beethoven's Ninth is 74 minutes long. If you guessed Mozart, that's the other answer, and it's wrong. So, guys, 3-minute break. Take your time. Tally the scores. When we come back, it's going to be music time. We're going to do some EQing just to make sure you can actually hear old Bessie back here. She doesn't actually have a name, but we're going to come back. We're going to do a musical round. Should be fun, or should be terrible. We'll find out. We'll see how much I drank. Anyway, bye! Guys, what we'll do is 1 point for the artist, And 1 point for the name of the song. Some of them are very obvious, starting with the most obvious one. I'm actually going to just do the timer and play as much as I can during the timer. I'm also going to mess some of them up. I've been drinking, you've noticed. So if I mess them up, hang in there. Here's song number 1. We'll just stick to the main part. So, it's probably too loud. Oh, boom, roasted. But if you can't figure it out by now, you probably didn't get it. Watch my fingers, though, if you need to. I can see Dean bobbing to it. I'll turn up to 11 on the next question. Doug says it's always Freebird. What do we got? Yes, indeed, it was. Another One Bites, and Another One Bites, and Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. 1 point each. There you go. There he is. Another One Bites the Dust. Ba-da-boop. All right, cool. I just had to prep for song 2, but you may have guessed it in 2 notes. Song 2 is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do Emily a favor. Watch this. It's going to get louder. Also, it's going to get louder because this one needs... There it is. Prepare. Cool. Great. Song 2, 45 seconds. Starting now. Stop there. Who's got it? Yeah. George got both there. But yes, indeed, Rage is the band. Rage Against the Machine. The answer is Bulls on Parade. It's Bulls on Parade by Rage Against the Machine. Yes, Sarah nailed it. Bulls on Parade. Probably not a lot of fun to watch a bull on parade, but, you know, that. Oh, yes, Chris, sorry, but you knew the first two. I could tell by the way you used your walk. That's not one of them, by the way. Okay, so we don't need overdrive, hopefully. Maybe we do. It's gonna be more fun anyway. 45 seconds. Gonna start messing them up, I'm sure. Knew. Doug already guessed it, so he gets an extra half point for the most obvious one to go on this. Yes, indeed, it is. Misheard Salvation Army. True story. That's how the title came up with. Jack White heard Salvation Army as Seven Nation Army. And it's the White Stripes. It's the White Stripes, and he is, yes, Darcy from Detroit. You're pointing at Detroit. Yeah, Detroit. I was like, of course it's Detroit. Cool, that's number 3. Oh, man, let's see if I can do this one. This one's gonna be so much fun if I can pull it off. And that's why we do this, to see if we can pull it off. Welcome to Trophy Ronin. Am I still this? Come on. goodness. Okay, good. I'm still. This one might get really ugly. Get excited. 45 seconds. That doesn't sound good on this, but we're gonna go. Sounds a little better. I'll play the middle part. There's a lot of distortion on that, but that's kind of the point. Yeah. So if you're familiar with the song, that was the theme from Hawaii 5-0. Yeah, Ba Wada Ba, honestly, I'll give you a fucking half point for how bad that shit went. It was Beastie Boys Sabotage. That's Beastie Boys Sabotage. Makes sense when the mic's farther away, I think, honestly. Beastie Boys Sabotage, I'll give everybody a half point on that one, because, damn. And then the last question of our weird musical round. Okay, so this one's important. Anyone who's ever played bass, probably Human Error by Matt McNally is my favorite song, quite frankly. This happens at 3 minutes into the song, but it is a very, very famous bass line, so I don't feel bad about it. You knew it. Yeah. It's that one that we'll get back to good audio for talking. The Chain by Fleetwood Mac, of course. It's that one bass solo that every bassist learns very early on. It will keep us together. So guys, that's that round. That's why we fly through musical rounds. So in the future, we'll do more musical rounds and they'll be, way better produced. But I thought for our 99th episode, I'd do something to keep Doug awake. Hang on one second while I take this off. Boop, 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 boop. Also, next time will be guitar, which is way more conducive to computer speakers. As you know, not very good at low-end sound, so I figured why not do the bass tonight. Also, my bass needs new strings, so I just wanted to see if I could break one tonight. Anyway, yes, please. Oh, thank you. That's very kind. That's very kind. I think it's fun. Sarah, of course you did okay on that one. You know songs. They're all fun. So I'm glad we enjoyed it. We will do more musicals, maybe once a month or something. It's been stewing for a while. That said, that's the end of that round. Did it work in Trivia Rat, guys? I didn't even think about it because our rounds are supposed to be 10 questions. We'll find out. Anyway, 3 minutes. We're going to come back to story time. It's going to be a blast tonight's story. Oh, shit. And I left the fucking Spotify music. Whatever. You guys did good on Twitch. 3 minutes, we'll be back. Yay! Hello. We're back. We didn't even get through all of Break the Chain by Fleetwood Mac, but of course we were listening to it in this house. That's just how it goes. The chat, by the way, what's happening in the chat is very funny. Doug Liberace is Vivacious Man wearing a boa. Not Elton John, but also Elton John. Many do. Many people are saying people wear boas. Guys, here we go. I'll say new round to Trivia Rap, but Larry's at 24 points. How's everybody looking? To those of you coming back, 22.5, anybody's game. 8, 13.5, 15. 23 on Jasper. Okay, so coming back. So we've got a 23.5. You guys are 24. So anybody's game. Story time. 6.5. Sarah, you nailed We got to do more musical rounds because you nailed that. So we'll do more in the future. Here we go, guys. So, story time. Story time. Tonight's story, I was thinking about Doug. I was thinking about time. So this story is about time. This story is actually about two gentlemen. They happen to both share the same. Do I get any points for remembering who designed our current flag? QVC. I'll give you back point. If you still know it, I'll give you a point. If you can put it in the chat without Googling. In the meantime, story time. We're talking about two guys tonight. Two guys with the same first name. That's it. I'll tell you right now, that's the question. First name. Yes, it's Pete and Pete. Oh, shit. All right, should I just stop? Petunia was the answer, actually. We were looking for Petunia as the name of the, thank you, as the mermaid. We'll do a Pete and Pete question at some point. Anyway, two guys, same first name. First guy I'm going to talk about, his last name is Caunt. C-A-U-N-T. Dangerous last name, but, you know, you get the one you're born with, man. Unless you can marry someone with a better name. This guy's was Caunt. He was born March 22nd, 1815, in Nottinghamshire, England, in a town called Hucknall Torkard, because that's England in the 1800s. That's a name of a place. Son of a laborer for Lord Byron. Lord Byron, a famous sort of roustabout, fancy, rich person. Doug, you get no points. Famous roustabout rich dude who obviously lords employed people. His father was one of them, and then he got a job with Lord Byron for a while, tending to his farmlands. Eventually got bored with that, and he was actually a big dude. He was 6'2", and so when he was about 18, 19, he decided to go into what was the most popular sport at the time, bare knuckle boxing. That was a big deal in London in the 1800s. So by the time it was the 1830s, they were actually just starting to codify the rules specifically about boxing. So I'm going to take a little sidebar. This one is also for Doug because Doug knows way too much about boxing. But sidebar, let's talk about bare knuckle boxing in the 1800s. So, okay, so there were rules at the time called London prize ring rules that were sort of rules. I'll tell you what you can't do. You couldn't headbutt anybody. You couldn't gouge anybody. You couldn't scratch anybody. You couldn't kick anybody. You couldn't hit someone on the ground, so that's good. You couldn't hold the ropes on anyone. You couldn't use resin or stones or anything in your hands to hurt somebody, and you couldn't bite anyone. Other than that, you can do anything. So you could punch. You could hold someone and throw them. You could wear spiked shoes, because at this time you were boxing on turf. So it would be a 24 square foot ring on a piece of grass with some stakes and some ropes. That was how they set up the rings back in the day. So you could wear cleats. So with those cleats, you could probably sneak in a couple of kicks if you wanted to. So the way it worked, also there was no time limit, right? Because people didn't have like pocket watches or anything. So the way it worked was every round was ended when someone was knocked to the ground. So when someone was hit and knocked down, that ended the round, and everyone went back to their corners, which were first established at this time, and they went to their bottle man or their corner man, and those guys you were allowed to help them back to the corner, and then you had 30 seconds, I believe, just counted by the refs, and then you had 8 seconds to get back to the middle line in the boxing ring, which was called a scratch line. So you had 8 seconds to get back there. If you didn't get back there, that was the end of the match. But otherwise, there was no limit. So rounds only ended when somebody got knocked down. And as long as you got back up and got to the corner, then we would go to the next round. So that's boxing at this time. And that's actually how many, just like sidebar, how many terms that we know today came about. The reason we call things stakes, like what's at stakes, is because they would actually put the purse, the money that was at stake. The two boxers would bring, let's say, 10 pounds apiece and make it a 20-pound stake, and then they would put it in the stake that actually held the ropes up, and then that boxer would take it when they left. Same drill from phrases like starting from scratch or up to scratch. That comes from this as well, where every round you would start from the scratch line. So, fun fact, even the term draw refers to, at the end of tie boxing matches back then, they would draw up the stakes, right? Draw them out of the ground. That's how the term draw came about. So, like, everything we know about random phraseology sort of came from this time, and obviously, like, knockout, whatever, but we knew that. Our guy. Let's go back to our guy. Last name, Caunt. He's a successful amateur boxer from early on. Again, he's a big kid. So he's 18, he's fighting well. In 1835, at 20 years old, he has a big fight against a man named William Bendigo Thompson. William Thompson, I almost think of him as like the Muhammad Ali in a lot of ways, where he talked shit all the time, all through the matches. At any chance, he would just talk shit on you. His nickname Bendigo came about because he said he was one of 3 siblings, Shadrach, Meshach, and Bendigo. He was Bendigo. If you know anything about the Bible, those are the 3 kids that survived the fiery furnace. So he essentially made up this own story about himself. So he's one of those guys who just hyped himself up so you'd be scared of him. But at the end of the day, he was just a dude who could punch. So that's William Thompson. He's real good. He's a few years older than our hero here. So in 1835, at 20, our guy Kant gets to fight him to kind of prove himself. So they have this fight. He's dodging all the time. He's talking shit on Kant. He gets Kant so mad that Kant ends up getting disqualified because in between rounds, he's still talking shit. Kant gets up from his corner and punches him out while he's in his other corner before they've ended the round. So Kant is disqualified on the first one. Fast forward to 1838, 3 years later, he's ready a little bit more. They fight in Nottingham, in Thompson's part of Nottingham. So it's a 350-pound fight, which is at that time like something like $300,000 or some kind of ridiculous nonsense, and a bunch of people show up to watch it. Thompson's in better shape, but again, he's littler, and in boxing, whoever's the big dude at 6'2" usually has the advantage. But our guy Thompson's a little bit littler, and he's a little bit more agile. In round 13, Kant catches Thompson and starts to strangle him. That's legal. You can just strangle a dude and try to knock him out. But again, they're in Thompson's hometown, so a bunch of the crowd comes out and starts beating up on Kant until he lets go of Thompson. Also, somehow that's legal. So then our guy Thompson gets back to his corner. He's really shaken up. They give him a shot of brandy. They rest for 30 seconds. He comes back. He gets back in the fight. They fight 75 rounds at the end of the day, which, again, because we're talking about rounds go as long as somebody gets knocked down. The ref finally stops the fight in the 75th round because Thompson's been ducking and weaving so much. He ducks down too far because, again, Kant is super tall, ducks down too far, puts his knee on the ground. You're not allowed to get on the ground if you haven't been punched. So ref calls the fight. Kant's the winner, except he's in Thompson's hometown. So dudes just pull up the stakes and start to come in to beat the hell out of Kant. He grabs all the stuff. He grabs the purse real quick. He gets in a carriage. He rides away in the carriage. The townspeople stop the carriage. They pull him out. He still has the purse. He gets on one of the horses and unharnesses it and just rides out of town bareback. Makes it out. He's now the heavyweight champion of England. Disputed, but the heavyweight champion of England. So, 1841, he has another fight with a guy with Nick Ward, who was also one of the famous boxers. Now he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of England. In 1845, Thompson Kant 3. This is it. This is the rubber match. 1-1, so we're coming back. Called one of the most scandalous brawls in boxing history. It went 93 rounds this time. Hundreds of fouls. They said the refs were just calling fouls every 5 minutes, but you couldn't really stop them. 11,000 people watched this fight in 1845, so couldn't have smelled good. Thompson wins after 2 hours and 10 minutes because our guy Kant is so exhausted, he just sits down in the middle of the fight. He's like, this is 2 hours. What are we talking about? So he sits down. Thompson's cheated a few times and put his knee down, but no one's called it. So he's like, whatever, I'll sit down. It's fine. So he thinks this is total nonsense. After he sat down, he says, this is bullshit. I'm retiring from the sport. This is complete nonsense in 1845. So our man Kant, he goes off 45-51. He becomes the landlord of a place called the Coach and Horses Pub, which essentially means bar manager / hotel manager, right? Does that until 51 when there's a fire in this place that tragically kills 2 of his children. And so he's almost wiped out of money. He has to go back and fight again. So at 42 in 1857, comes back out of retirement to do a fight just to make some money. Fights to a draw, which means at least he splits the cash. He dies of pneumonia in 1861, sadly. But one of the best fighters of that time period when boxing was the sport. Let's talk about a second guy. We're talking about 2 guys with the same first name. Second guy, his last name's Hall. His father, famous Welsh industrialist of the same name, he's a member of parliament. Our guy gets sent to Westminster School, which is a fancy boarding school, and then becomes the sheriff of Monmouthshire. Yeah, that's a thing. Like, we were talking about Nottingham, now we're talking about sheriffs. There were sheriffs everywhere. He's the sheriff. From what I've been able to figure out in research, sheriff is basically like the guy who makes sure everybody who has a court date shows up to their court date. I think that's kind of what sheriffs still do, quite frankly, but seems more fancy and less, less carry guns around and more wear a wig and say, hear ye. That was his job. He's a tall dude. This guy's 6'7", which is like bonkers tall for England at the time. He's 5 inches bigger than our guy Kant. But that's just Welsh. That's just being Welsh, I guess. They were big boys. He's a minister of parliament from Monmouth in 1832 is when he gets to parliament. His whole thing when he gets there, he's fighting for rights for common people, especially common Welsh people. So he brings up the Truck Acts, which were an act of parliament essentially to stop companies in company towns from gouging prices for people who lived in that town. So if you had a company store, it stopped them from being able to charge whatever price they wanted to. Not unlike when I told the story of the Pullman town, what they were doing to their citizens. Same thing was happening in England at this time. He passes this law. He stops it. He also passes a law attacking the Anglican Church because they wouldn't let Welsh people practice in Welsh. The Anglican Church was trying to get them to practice. Every church service had to be in English. So finally he passes a law and comes to the Anglican Church for embezzling money and being just generally shitty people. So he's a good dude. 1837, he gets made a baron. That's exciting. Big deal over there. 1854, they put him in a big job. He's been an MP this whole time. He becomes president of the Board of Health, which is a huge deal because there's a cholera outbreak in London at the time. People are dying of cholera. Nobody knows what to do. He does a great job from all accounts, aside from the fact that at the time, scientifically, they believed in something called the, the miasma theory of disease. The miasma theory is what happened just before germ theory, and what it stated was, if something smells bad, it's probably bad. So, to be fair, true a lot of the time. However, not exactly helpful for stopping the spread of cholera. Basically, what he had was very detailed accounts of how all of London smelled at any given time. He had guys going out and being like, smells like pigeons and shit, and I don't know, more shit. And they'd be like, okay, cool, thanks for your report. So, very good organizer, just didn't have the facts, right? So, he goes from there. He still learned a bit about sanitation and realizes that London's kind of a gross town, so they actually put him in charge of the Metropolitan Board of Works, which was a job to make London's public works a little better. So he becomes the chairman of that board, the first commissioner of that board in 1858. Makes a bunch of improvements to sanitation in London, to public buildings, to public works, etc., etc. And then the government breaks up in 1858. The government breaks up in the sense of that he was a Whig and that parliament went away. He goes away to Wales, lives out the rest of his days as a baron, whatever. He does a great job. And he dies 6 years after our guy Kant. Here's the question. What do they have in common? What am I talking about besides first names? Well, there was a big rebuilding effort that happened in London starting in October 16th, 1834. There was a big fire in a specific building. And it was rebuilt until the year 1859 when it was finally completed, which was right around the end of our guy Hall's tenure and right around the time that our guy Kant had his fight coming back. So both of them were in the public eye. One of them was the most popular sports figure in the country. One of them was a very popular government figure. The question is, this rebuilding effort happened, and then it was named. The question is, what's the first name of the two guys I'm talking about? 45 seconds. What's the first name of these two dudes? Same first name? Hall and Kant. And one worked directly on a major rebuilding project in London, completed in 1859, and one was probably the most popular sports figure in London. Same time. This was one where you had to be listening, especially to the first thing I said. The first thing I said gave this story away. If you remember the first thing I said. And that's all I'll say. You guys are going to get it, though. Same first name. Good guess, Drama Turtle. There he is. There they are. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, good. A lot of people got it. All right, great. I probably did give it away. The answer, of course, was Benjamin. They were both called Big Ben, as was the clock tower that was built in 1858 in London. Big Ben. Dispute over who it's named after. Some say it's named after the boxer because he was famous. Some say it's named after Benjamin Hall because he oversaw its construction. One was 6'7", one was 6'2". Nice job. So Larry, I think that means Larry got it. So Larry's going to come in with the win at 34. Cyrus with a big comeback. What did you end up at with missing round one? I mean, honorable mention. Oh, copy. All right, cool. I was going to say, I feel like you were probably around like the 20-something mark without having a round. So good stuff. Anyway, Larry Labia, big congrats. Episode 99 winner and first random musical. I was going to say Doug. So Doug knew the actual boxer and didn't realize he's related to the clock. But yes, he is. He's one of the namesakes. Guys, so that's going to do it for us here at Trivia Ronin. It is 8:15. At 8:30. My man Doug is going 24 hours until the end of Saturday. If you are so inclined, hop up on Twitch at Trivia Ronin. Play at any point. Mark some answers in a little pad or whatever you want to do. We won't have Trivia Rack on because that's just too much to do. Mark your answers down and they count towards your Saturday score. If you don't care about your Saturday score, we're raising money for charity. Come see Doug and give money to charity. We love it. It's Girls Who Code is who we're working with. They're good people. They're trying to raise money for STEM. I want to shout out real quick Emily. We know Emily threw some money. Thank you so much, Emily. Bless you. And so, no obligation. If you want to, I would just say go see Doug to make sure he doesn't go insane. I'll hop on there periodically. But for all of us here at Trivia Ronin, my name is Matt McNally saying, don't be shitty. And Big Ben is a clock. That's my closer tonight. Bye. Stopping streaming.